Let me tell you, the morning I saw that HOA citation taped to my door, I just stood there in my slippers, coffee cooling in my hand, and honestly thought, all right, these people have officially lost their damn minds. It was this fancy cream-colored cardstock, Pine Ridge Estates logo, all glossy at the top, and right there in bold letters, your truck is in violation of the winter parking ordinance and must be removed from your driveway immediately or you'll be fined $500 per day. 500 per day for parking my own damn truck on my own damn driveway. Now, I bought this house 3 years back. That driveway, my name's on it. My Ford F-35, big tough snowplow attached, and all was parked exactly where it had always been, out of everyone's way. Not on the street, not blocking a sidewalk, nothing. Just sitting there, a Minnesota winter tradition. I crumpled that citation in my fist and looked at my truck like, buddy, looks like we're in trouble for just existing. But the kicker, that citation was signed, big swooping signature by Patricia Donovan. Oh man, Patricia, she'd been here all of 6 months, moved in, ran for HOA president when no one else wanted to deal with the job, and ever since she's been treating our neighborhood like her personal kingdom. I mean, seriously, she came in swinging new rules every week, threatening fines if your grass was half an inch too long, handing out friendly reminders if your garbage bins dared show their faces before 7 a.m. And now she had her eyes on my work truck. So what did I do? Called up Derek, my buddy from 2 streets over. He picked up with a sigh. Don't tell me you got the parking thing too. He'd gotten the same citation for his work van. We both started reading the ordinance out loud to each other, getting more fired up by the minute. Dude, they can't tell us what to park on our own property. HOA can't just invent laws. He'd talked to his lawyer friend already. They can regulate the street, sure, but our driveways, no dice. And apparently this new rule had been passed at some secret little meeting, unanimous vote by the 3 board members. Conveniently, the only 3 people who knew the meeting was even happening. I'd been too busy plowing snow 12, 14 hours a day to pay attention to their shenanigans running my business, Lakewood Snow Services. My truck's not some hobby, it's my living. Plowing driveways, parking lots, you name it. But now apparently it's lowering property values. So what are you going to do? Derek asked. Ignore it, I said. They can take their fine, and well, you get the idea, he laughed. Told me to call if I needed backup at the next HOA meeting, and I tossed the citation onto the kitchen counter, where Tank, my German Shepherd, just looked up from his bed like, again, poor guy. Even he was tired of the HOA. Next morning, 4 a.m., I'm out firing up the diesel. February in Minnesota, another 6 inches overnight time to get to work. I love plowing snow, something almost meditative about pushing all that white aside, carving paths through the silence. 12 hours later, I get home and, yep, another citation on the door. This one says I owe $1,000 now. They're multiplying. By Friday, $3,500, and they're threatening to put a lien on my property. I'm starting to see red. Saturday morning, after a week of this nonsense, I decide I've had enough. I dig up the HOA bylaws, 70 pages of pure legalese, and force myself to read every word. Turns out, surprise, they do have rules for passing new ordinances, 2 weeks' notice to all homeowners, a public meeting right to attend, the whole shebang, none of which happened. Last board meeting on record was 2 months ago. Patricia made this up out of thin air. So I shoot off a real spicy email copy, all 3 board members quoting the bylaws and demanding they rescind the ordinance and waive the fines. Kept it civil, well, mostly. Patricia fires back in under an hour. The board has authority to enact emergency ordinances to protect neighborhood aesthetics. Your commercial vehicle is unsightly. The fines stand. Emergency, there's no emergency unless she means her own boredom. I call Derek. We're confronting her. Now. He rolls up in his van, also ticketed. We head to Patricia's, this pristine colonial, 2 luxury cars in the driveway. She answers the door, wine in hand, at noon, all fake politeness. She tries to shut me down. Nothing to discuss. Pay or else. I call her out on the bylaw violations, and she pulls out the I was on an HOA board in Scottsdale, I know what I'm doing card. Lady, this is Minnesota, not Arizona. People here need trucks. When she threatens to call the cops, I tell her, go for it, see you in court. She slams the door. Derek and I look at each other. He says, "She's unbelievable." "What now, lawyer?" I say. Monday comes and it's like Patricia's got a new trick. Bright orange sticker on my truck's windshield city notice says my truck's illegally parked facing tow. I call the city, nice woman checks the records, tells me the HOA's been hounding them, but they can't actually enforce HOA rules. Document everything. Maybe get a lawyer. I snap pictures, stew about it all day. But then I remember Lakeview Boulevard, the main road into Pine Ridge, is actually owned by the HOA. They have an easement for homeowners, but the road itself, HOA property, and the bylaws. They do allow the board to close the road for emergencies. If Patricia wants to throw emergency ordinance around, maybe it's time for a taste of her own medicine. Tuesday, we get hammered with 14 inches of snow. I'm out all morning plowing for clients, then call Marcus, my crew chief. "Bring the big truck to Pine Ridge Special Project." He laughs. "Double overtime. Triple if you do it in an hour." He knows something's up, but he's game. So here's what we do. Marcus plows the entire main road, but instead of clearing it off, he piles the snow into a 4-foot-high wall across the entrance. Full-on blockade. He finishes in under an hour, and the phone calls start coming in almost immediately. Neighbors can't get in, Patricia's calling. I'm ignoring them all, making dinner, watching the chaos from my window. 6 o'clock. Bang, bang, bang on my door. Patricia, face the color of a tomato. Demands to know if I blocked the entrance. "Snow, emergency for safety." I say, matching her logic. "You can't do that." "Why not?" "You made up a rule." "So did I." "She's apoplectic, threatens to call the police." "Go ahead. It's a private road." I close the door, let her stew. Police show up, a reasonable guy named Officer Rodriguez. He sees the game isn't thrilled about the blockade, but also knows the HOA is out of line. He asks me to open a lane for emergency vehicles and says he'll help document the harassment. Fair enough, I clear a lane but leave the rest. Patricia predictably refuses to back down. Officer Rodriguez tries to mediate. She wants the fines to stick. I say no deal. He shrugs, files a report, and tells me to get a lawyer. Next day I meet with Jennifer White, an HOA lawyer downtown. She looks over. Everything says it's clear as day. Patricia broke every rule in the book. Letter for 500 lawsuit if necessary. I say go for it. On my way home, I catch Patricia with a shovel trying to dig through the snow wall herself, swearing up a storm. "My lawyer's sending you a cease and desist," I tell her. She blanches, first crack in her armor. And then, as if on cue, Patricia sends an all-neighborhood email calling me a domestic terrorist for blocking the road. Claims my snow removal business is a front for criminal activity. I have to laugh. This is getting cartoonish. Jennifer is not laughing, though. "That's defamation," she says. "We'll add it to the lawsuit." When the HOA refuses to back down, we sue for harassment bylaw violations and now defamation. The judge, a sharp lady named Lopez, sees right through Patricia and her lawyer husband, Richard. Turns out there was never any emergency, no valid meeting, no procedure followed. Judge grants us an injunction, no fines, no parking ordinance, case pending. Patricia's fuming and I can finally breathe. But it isn't over. Patricia starts going door to door trying to rally the neighbors against me. Only now the tide's turning. Folks are getting citations for their RVS boats, even for garbage cans out too early. Suddenly I'm not the only one with a bone to pick. We organize a petition, needs 17 signatures to call a special meeting, and within a week we have 30. The day after we submit the petition, police show up at Patricia's house hauling out boxes of documents. Turns out the treasurer, Susan Walsh, found Patricia's been embezzling HOA funds, 45 grand, skimming off fake snow removal invoices and maintenance checks to her own LLC. Next thing you know, Patricia's getting perp walked out of her house on the 6 o'clock news face hidden behind her hands. That's karma, if you ask me. The board throws out the bogus parking ordinance, all fines dropped, issues a formal apology. Jennifer negotiates a settlement. HOA covers my legal fees. Patricia's husband coughs up 20 grand in damages for defamation, and she ends up with an 18-month prison sentence plus a divorce. Gregory Mitchell, the new HOA president, keeps things simple, just maintenance, no drama. Suddenly, everyone's friendlier. I keep parking my truck in my driveway, no more hassle. Neighbors start hiring me for snow removal, even Tank gets a few extra treats out of it. Months later, Susan comes by and asks if I'd consider running for HOA president. I almost spit out my coffee after everything. That's the last thing I want. But I run for the board and win. Now I sit through boring meetings, making sure the bylaws get followed, no more secret rules, no more power trips. People use my truck as a landmark. Turn left at the house with the big plow truck. Guess I'm infamous now. Looking back, I'll admit maybe the snow wall wasn't my proudest moment. But sometimes you've got to do something dramatic to get people's attention, especially when you're up against a bully. That's the lesson I learned the hard way. Power only works when good people don't stand up and say, enough. Homeowner associations aren't evil, but put the wrong person in charge and they'll ruin your peace, your business, even your reputation. So yeah, I still park my truck in my driveway. Tank still guards the house, and Pine Ridge is peaceful again. If anyone ever tries to pull another Patricia, well, the plow's still ready, and I know where every private road starts and ends, but honestly, I hope it never comes to that. Once was enough. You know, a year later, a new neighbor moved in and asked me to plow her driveway. She said she almost didn't buy here because of all those crazy HOA stories. I just laughed, handed her a business card, and told her things had changed. And I meant it. Because sometimes fighting for what's right is the only way to make a place feel like home. That's my story. Maybe a little wild, definitely a bit petty, but real. Now let me ask you this. Where's the line between keeping order and abusing power? Ever had to fight back against someone who thought the rules didn't apply to them? Tell me your stories, because trust me, I know I'm not the only one. Let's hear what justice looks like where you live.